Hello, everyone. Again, welcome and thank you for joining Dragon Trail International and COTTM for today's webinar about working with the Chinese travel trade to promote and sell Chinese outbound tourism in 2023. My name is Sienna Perulis-Cook, and I'm Director of Marketing and Communications for Dragon Trail International. Joining me today from the China Outbound Travel and Tourism Market, COTTM, is Sales Manager Jane Carter. And also from Dragon Trail, we have our General Manager for Representation and PR, Edward Chen. On the agenda today, I'm going to start out by sharing just a few slides of recent data on Chinese border crossings and flight capacity as of the summer, before moving on to the results of Dragon Trail's brand new Chinese outbound travel trade survey, which we're just releasing today. Then Jane will introduce us to COTTM 2023 and what to expect from the show's return to an in-person event in Beijing this November. Finally, we'll hear from Edward about his own insights working with the Chinese travel trade and advice for trade marketing strategy during this recovery period. The presentation should last for around 40 minutes, after which we'll run a live Q&A session. And you're welcome to send in questions at any point during the webinar by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel, and we'll aim to answer as many as possible at the end of the session. We will also be sending out a copy of today's presentation slides to everyone after the webinar, along with a link to a recording of the webinar, so you'll have all of the materials from today's session to share with any colleagues who you think might be interested but weren't able to attend live. In case you're attending a Dragon Trail webinar for the first time today, I wanted to briefly introduce who we are. Dragon Trail International is a marketing solutions company headquartered in Beijing. And since the company's founding in 2009, we've focused on marketing for Chinese outbound tourism, working with destinations and other travel brands around the world to help them reach Chinese consumers and the Chinese travel trade. Our services include B2C and B2B marketing and content creation, research and strategy consulting, digital, hybrid, and offline events, and market representation services. You can find more information about our services, case studies of our work, and lots of free resources on Chinese outbound tourism and digital marketing on our website, www.dragontrail.com. Our research arm, Dragon Trail Research, was founded in 2019, and we have been running Chinese consumer sentiment surveys regularly since the spring of 2020. Additionally, we also offer research services to clients, including bespoke surveys, focus groups, travel trade insights, and more. My presentation today on the Chinese travel trade comes from our latest survey of Chinese travel agents. And before sharing those results, let's get up to date on the overall status of international travel to and from China right now. Looking at border crossing data released by China's National Immigration Authority, we can see a steady and sustained recovery throughout 2023 so far. After 3 years of the borders being virtually closed to international travel, it is taking time to come back, but the trajectory is definitely going in the right direction. If we look back to Chinese New Year, which was the first national holiday period, after which the inbound quarantine requirements were dropped and people were officially allowed to travel for non-essential purposes, border crossings only reached 23% of pre-pandemic levels. Then moving ahead to the Labor Day holiday in early May, that was up to 59.2%. And then the last Chinese national holiday was the Dragon Boat Festival at the end of June, where we saw nearly 65% of pre-pandemic border crossing levels met. With flight capacity growing all the time and most travelers surveyed by Dragon Trail saying that they planned their outbound trips for 2023 either for the summer holiday period of July and August or the Mid-Autumn Festival and October National Day holiday, we do expect these numbers to continue to grow in the coming months. To give you a snapshot of China's international flight capacity, let's look at 1 week of data from early June. Flights have been added since then, of course, including to France, Belgium, Turkey, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and many other destinations all around the world. And this summer, the estimate is that there would be 6,000 weekly international flights to and from China. So going back to the week of June 5th to 11th, we see that flight capacity recovery is quite varied depending on the destination country. On average, the recovery rate is around half of 2019's levels, with especially strong recovery for flights to the UK and the UAE, and exceptionally poor recovery for flights to the US, which are still limited to just 24 per week. Looking at geographic distribution, it shouldn't be a big surprise that almost 75% of outbound flights are to Southeast and East Asia. These areas are where outbound travel has always been concentrated, and it includes all of the short-haul travel destinations from China. We then see that nearly 12% of outbound flights from China were to destinations within Europe, making it the top long-haul destination. So I just wanted to share that data as some background information and context about the progress of outbound travel recovery from China before giving you the first ever look at the results of the latest survey from Dragon Trail Research. The survey was conducted over a 1-month period in June and July of this year, and we applied a strict verification process to ensure that all respondents are Chinese travel agents who are currently engaged in selling travel for mainland travel agencies. I'll be sharing and discussing all of the results from the survey right now, and by tomorrow we also will have sent you a link where you can see the full report and analysis of the data. If you want to access that report sooner, it will be available on the resources section of the Dragon Trail website immediately following this webinar. So let's start by looking at where our survey respondents sell travel to and which regions they think have the most potential for outbound travel sales in 2024. Actually, our survey respondents sell travel to every world region, with 88% selling travel to Europe, 75% to Southeast Asia, and 65% to North America. Looking at potential for 2024, 74% chose Europe as a high potential destination for travel sales, making this the world region that travel agents feel more optimistic about for their sales. I would point out that this doesn't necessarily mean Chinese travelers are much less likely to be visiting destinations in Asia next year. It's just that those bookings are probably less likely to be made with a Chinese travel agent. We'd also like to point out that Central Asia, Oceania, and the Middle East all ranked higher when it came to their potential for 2024 compared to what percentage of agents sell travel to these areas. Now let's look at what type of travel is selling best this year. Our survey respondents had a very even distribution in terms of what type of travel products they sell, including bookings for independent travelers, group tours, and customized tours for private groups. In terms of what is most popular in 2024, FIT clearly takes the lead with 42% of travel agents choosing this as the most popular type of product. Chinese travel agents were banned from making outbound group travel sales for more than 3 years until February of this year. And that ban was first rescinded for an initial list of 20 countries with 40 additions made in mid-March. So the current list of 60 countries to which Chinese travel agents are allowed to sell outbound group tour products, it still accounts for less than half of the destinations that had approved destination status agreements in place before the pandemic for outbound group travel. And we can see that travel agents are prioritizing independent travel still as a result. As to the size of group tours, smaller sizes are strongly preferred, with 89% of respondents saying that groups of 20 people or fewer are the most popular right now. Now, this result might be related to the next question about who is buying outbound travel from Chinese travel agents in 2023. You might expect to find older consumers making up the bulk of travel agency sales, but at least in 2023, millennials are actually the dominant group. 58% of Chinese travel agents said that their average consumer age range included the generation born in the 1980s, with 72% selling travel to the even younger 1990s generation. These generations are the core of China's travel market and outbound travel recovery, and we can see here that they're also important when it comes to B2B sales and marketing. What's also interesting is that nearly the same percentage of travel agents said that their average age range included the Gen Z post-2000s generation as those who are selling travel to consumers born in the 1970s. We also asked our survey respondents about the biggest challenges in selling outbound travel in 2023. Visas were identified as the biggest obstacle. As you may have seen in the news already, the soonest visa appointments available in cities like Shanghai and Beijing for long-haul destinations such as the US and Germany are months away. And we have heard a number of anecdotes from contacts in the travel trade about trips to destinations within Europe and Asia that have been canceled because the Chinese travelers weren't able to get their visas in time. The cost of travel is another big obstacle, especially airfares, although we would expect these to be coming down as flight capacity grows. Now, identifying these challenges isn't just important to give you an idea of what's worrying the Chinese travel trade right now, but it's also to help you think about what you could do as an overseas tourism supplier to address these challenges and be helpful to the Chinese travel trade. So, for example, you could provide up-to-date information about visa application centers and the visa application processes to help make this part of travel booking smoother. Some other issues that came up in the survey responses are language, and we will see more later about the importance of communication and materials in Chinese and English. We also see pandemic in this word cloud. With China's reopening just 6 months ago, travelers might still be concerned about the COVID situation abroad. And this is an opportunity for you to provide reassuring information about the public health situation and medical resources available in your destination. With the cost of outbound travel in 2023 identified as one major challenge, what are Chinese travelers paying on average for their trips to different world destinations? Prices of trips to the Americas and Europe are the most expensive. For respondents who sell travel to Europe or the Americas, over 40% sell trips that are priced between 10,000 and 20,000 renminbi per person. And more than 1/3 say that average trips currently cost over 20,000 renminbi per person, which is around $2,800 US. The price of trips to Southeast and North Asia is concentrated in the 2,000 to 10,000 yuan range. And the majority of trips to Oceania and Africa and the Middle East are more evenly distributed, with a range between 2,000 and 20,000 renminbi per person. Understanding these price ranges should also help you to develop and price your products so that they're competitive for the Chinese market. From the Chinese travel trade's point of view, high quality and comfort, interesting destinations, and unique experiences are the most important things that their customers are looking for when booking travel. Small group size was also important for just over half of respondents. And conversely, we see low price as being the least important element. For the travel trade, the quality of products and experiences offered in destination is far more important than merely selling trips at low prices to their customers. Looking at travel themes identified by the trade, Chinese travelers value experiences, relaxation, nature, and family time in 2023. According to travel agents, beach and island is the leading travel theme in 2023 at 37%, followed by family travel at 33%. Nature, arts and culture, and adventure and sports are also popular themes for travel products booked through an agency, all ranking 30 or 31%. On the other hand, shopping and luxury ranked lowest, showing that Chinese travelers are more likely to consult travel agents to help them find certain experiences and destinations rather than shopping opportunities or luxury products. The next two slides are particularly relevant for those of you who will be working with Chinese travel trade partners in 2023, particularly if you are planning to attend COTTM or other trade events in China. When we asked what would be the most helpful way to work with an overseas destination or travel business, the most popular answer was meeting at an offline event, chosen by 61% of respondents. So we can see that exhibitions and meetings really are something that the trade is very interested in right now. But at the same time, digital resources are still important, with 56% saying that online training courses and live webinars would be the most helpful to them. Dragon Trail has developed our own WeChat-based platform called China Travel Academy, which hosts and promotes both online training courses and live webinar sessions for the Chinese travel trade. And we have worked with dozens of brands around the world on their digital B2B marketing over the years. So please do let us know after the webinar if this is something that you might be interested in and if you want any additional information about what we could do together with you. We can also see from the answers to this question that materials written in Chinese are strongly preferred to those in English at 52% compared to 38%, which brings us to our final question, which is about language. We asked survey respondents which languages they were comfortable communicating in for work, and the results really emphasize the value of being able to communicate in Chinese. Our respondents came from all over China, and nearly all of them were comfortable communicating in Mandarin, with another 19% comfortable working in Cantonese. 56% said that they would be comfortable using English. Only one respondent said they were comfortable working in a foreign language that wasn't English, which in this case was Japanese. If you're attending this webinar, then I imagine you are also happy to use English for work, but it's important to stress that it's quite unlikely that you're going to find a lot of Chinese travel agents who could use another foreign language, and Mandarin is really preferred for written materials and work communications. If you don't have anyone on your team who is a Mandarin speaker, Dragon Trail's representation services would be able to support in terms of translation and Chinese language communication at meetings and events. So those are all of our travel trade survey results, and I'm now going to turn over to Jane at COTTM to introduce this great opportunity to reconnect to the Chinese travel trade in person later this year.
Oh, there we go. Apologies, a few technical issues. Hello, everybody, and welcome to COTTM, which is the China Outbound Travel and Tourism Market. I myself have been involved with the event for the past 17 years now, where we've witnessed the growth and success of this event in this, rapidly growing market. I'd just like to talk you through now the following slides about the market and COTTM itself. As Sienna has already mentioned, the border crossings from China are increasing rapidly, and it won't be long until the outbound figures begin to return to where they were prior to the pandemic. Taking note that pre-COVID, 155 million Chinese were travelling outbound. For us, having relaunched COTTM, which will take place from the 15th to the 17th of November this year, in Beijing, we've received a fantastic response from the Chinese tour operators, who are all keen to getting back to doing business with international companies. With China having almost reopened its borders overnight, it is really important that you start to re-engage with this market, and we can help you do that at COTTM. COTTM has served the market for 18 years now and is firmly established as the only 100% B2B and 100% outbound only travel event in the marketplace. As well as organising our annual COTTM in Beijing, where the top tour operators have their headquarters, we have also organised 3 COTTM summits around China, taking place in Beijing, Guangzhou and Shenzhen, and launching COTTM Online, our virtual online platform. All of these events are there to help international companies do business in China. We've been very successful, in particular, in helping long-haul destinations, unique destinations and suppliers, in reaching the right contacts in the China market. And as an organiser, we are very experienced with our office in China, where we look after our marketing and visitor campaign and the media, and our office here in the UK, where we service our international exhibitors. We also recently were bought out by the Informer, who are the largest exhibition organiser globally. So going forward, we will have their full backing when organising COTTM events in future. COTTM attracts 450 exhibitors from 70 different countries and welcomes 5,000 Chinese tour operators. We pride ourselves on attracting the right key buyers in the marketplace. That means we only invite the Chinese tour operators who are responsible for outbound travel, as the focus of the event is all about Chinese tourists travelling overseas. The exhibitors at COTTM are made up of destinations and the private sector, from accommodation providers to inbound operators to DMCs to high-end luxury suppliers, so covering the full spectrum of travel. We are very keen over the years to have built up strong relationships with the key buyers in the marketplace, and the likes of C-Trip, HCG International Travel Group and UTOUR, etc. It's also important to mention that we hold COTTM in Beijing, because this is where the majority of the Chinese tour operators are based. At COTTM, you will find a very focused event where all of our exhibitors are international and all of our visitors are invited Chinese tour operators. We promote the event through the following marketing channels, including WeChat, via social media, online and offline media, and we have strong support from the following media partners here in China that you can see on the slide. In particular, China Travel Trade Media have been very successful in helping our current visitor registrations. As well as our core visitor audience, we also invite a hand-selected number of VIP buyers from the regions around China that include Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Chengdu, and Shenzhen. And these buyers are key players in the travel sectors that they serve. At COTTM, we have an online appointment system where VIP buyers can request appointments with our exhibitors over the 3 days. There will be up to 26 time slots available during the show for appointments. Every exhibitor will receive their own account to access the online appointment system, and that includes all co-exhibitors. COTTM conference is always very well attended and is organised by Wen Lu. And we'll cover the latest topics and trends in the industry. And here you can see some of the topics that we'll be focusing on during the conference. The conference will be an added benefit this year as companies adapt to the new market trends now that China is open. The event will also include panel discussions from key tour operators, and it is important for destinations wanting to attract Chinese tourists to participate at COTTM, as we will also invite some of them to be part of the panel discussions at this year's COTTM conference. In addition to the main conference, exhibitors also have the opportunity of presenting a 20-minute product presentation. It is so important in the China market to meet face-to-face, to build up trust and relationships. And you really do need to attend COTTM to do this, where we attract 5,000 Chinese tour operators. COTTM is the best way to meet the right contacts in the market. And we bring these buyers to you. And also a great platform to meet your regular clients and keep your profile in the marketplace and cement your relationships. What you can expect from the show over the 3 days is a combination of pre-arranged appointments and meetings with visitors who will visit your stand on the day. And they will all be keen to know what your latest product offering is and how your products have adapted after the pandemic. It's a fantastic opportunity to get across your product information firsthand. There is also the platform to do a presentation on your organisation to further enhance your profile. So here are our contact details for those of you who don't want to miss out on what will be the last opportunity in 2023 to meet thousands of Chinese tour operators in one place. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Jane. Now, last but not least, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Edward Chen, who has been working closely with the Chinese travel trade for and in travel marketing in China for over 2 decades to share his insights and advice for trade marketing during this crucial moment in Chinese outbound travel recovery.
Thank you, Sienna, and thank you, Jane, for the introduction to COTTM. Okay, now it's my turn, just only for 10 minutes. I don't have a slide, but I could like you to focus on me. I like to share with you that before the pandemic, China had the outbound market on record of 155 million. Okay, and China was the largest source market for international travel. And of course, China was the largest expenditure for tourism as well. Okay, but I think the pandemic actually changed a lot. Okay, before in 2019, we understand that the majority of our neighbors, like in Asia, actually majority are the destination for China outbound. However, United States was actually this our number 5. And I think Australia was actually this on number 11. Okay. However, after the pandemic, particularly, it was only 6 months so far. I think one of the fact is that ADS actually has been one of the key issue for the outbound market. Okay, so I actually got the figure for the first quarter for this year, and United States is not on the list. Australia is not on the list. Okay, instead, there is Thailand, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and followed by Egypt, Indonesia, New Zealand, and France. So pretty amazing. You can see there is something actually very different from the past. I think one of the key issue is because of ADS. Okay, as we all know, ADS at the moment is only opened up for 60 countries. So basically, there are still a lot of destinations are still waiting for the door to open. And although we understand that ADS is 100%, for group travel. However, I think we need to understand whether what happened in the travel trade at the moment. Okay, I just want to share with you, there are still 44,000 travel agents in China. Okay, amongst of them, actually 4,200 are authorized outbound agents. And the majority, you won't believe, the majority of a number of travel agents are located in Guangdong province. Okay, and but the entire outbound, we're talking about number of visitors, number for outbound tourism. Actually, the largest is actually out of Shanghai. Okay, when I say Shanghai, is basically around the Yangtze River Delta. Okay, so there is something just for your information. Of course, Shanghai followed by Beijing and Guangdong. Okay, and Shandong, Fujian, Hunan, Hubei. They are also very important, and they are actually majority the source market are. And we actually shared some data with you earlier. You can see that in terms of a flight capacity, you can see that UK actually come back very strongly with 97% of the flight resumed. However, again, we actually understand from the travel trade, there is a high number of student market actually growth for UK at the moment, and seems there is a little bit decline for United States. And we also know that for Australia and for Canada, I think the student market is sort of resume back to the level of 2019, but of course there are still room to growth. Okay, and as I just mentioned, there are emergence destinations. Outside of the ADS issue, we're talking about Egypt, talking about New Zealand, and talking about France. And I just want to share with you that at the moment, from travel trade, they say to me the most proactive region at the moment is from Middle East, okay, and probably from the MENA region, as well as from Europe. Okay, so I can see that that is what happened at the moment in the marketplace. And something also emerging, I just like to share with you. Number one is talking about special interest travel. Okay, there is more and more people are looking at the different purpose of traveling, and something for your information, special interest is actually growing quite fast. Okay, we already received quite a number of inquiries talking about wedding marketing, talking about wedding overseas. Okay, and we understand that there is a good number for ski market as well. So I think there is all the special interest and something we can look into the segmentations. And I think there is something very potential once you have your own target and then you understand how you can market over there. And furthermore, when we're talking about those segmentations, I also like to flag to you that we also identify some sort of consumer changes as well. So there is a big number of what they call high value travelers. Okay, they are very much like to spend during their travel. They like to enjoy their authentic travel experience, and on top, they don't mind to spend more money for their travel experiences. So again, I think that is something you can also try to target on those segments. And I think at the moment, we believe and we hope the ADS can be opened up more countries, more markets after in October, and that is what we actually are hoping for. In addition to that, we still very confident that China market will resume. I'm talking about back into 2019, probably in early of 2024. And I also like to touch base about how is your strategy to be for China market. I think number one, as we share just a few of the slides earlier, I think to visit the market, to come to China is essential. So I urge, if you got the time and you got the resources, I will really encourage you come to the marketplace. Okay, and that is something you can, for example, we can help you to make an appointment. We can make sure you are meeting to the right people, and of course you can join a trade show like COTTM as well. So do your own activities, your own sales call, meet up with the travel trade. I think that is always the star activities, for you to marketing China. And in addition to that, we actually also doing representation, means we actually help you to engage with the travel trade, and we are be able to find the right partner for you. And most importantly, we actually understand the market, and we can actually provide a lot of consultation to your product or your service, how you can actually marketing to China. Okay, so basically that is for me, and I'm hoping there is more questions. Okay, and I back to Sienna. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Before we move on to Q&A, and I see there are a few questions already, I wanted to remind everyone that you will be able to find Dragon Trail's new Chinese outbound travel trade survey report on the resources section of the Dragon Trail website following the webinar, alongside all of our consumer sentiment reports, translated industry reports, market updates, videos of our past webinars, and lots of other free content. So do check that out. One final thing to note for those of you who are used to hearing from me every month during Dragon Trail's webinar series is that I will be taking a leave of absence in the coming months and returning to Dragon Trail in March of 2024. In the meantime, we are planning to continue our webinar series with an exciting lineup of guest speakers, so do keep an eye on our social media and newsletters for upcoming webinar announcements. So thank you very much for listening, everyone, and we're now ready to answer your questions, which you can submit through the Q&A button if you haven't